Welcome, students. We are going to discuss the chapter Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. In the previous part, we have seen that South Africa was celebrating its freedom, and 10th May is the ceremonial day for them. People from all over the world, dignitaries from all over the world gathered here to pay their respect. After that, we have seen the speech of Nelson Mandela. In his speech, he focused on this point that freedom will reign in South Africa, discrimination will not reign in South Africa, there will be no discrimination among black people, and white people will not govern black people anymore. In South Africa, freedom will reign, REIGN. Okay, no discrimination will be seen further. After that, we see a few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe. Awe here means amazed, as a spectacular. Spectacular means beautiful in a dramatic and eye-catching way. Array means an impressive display of South African jets. So after the speech of Nelson Mandela, those who gathered in amphitheater, everyone looked towards the sky. Everyone lifted his eyes towards the sky. All were amazed after seeing the South African jets, helicopters, and troop. Troop here means soldiers or armed forces. Carriers rode in perfect formation over the Union buildings. So, meaning is this: everyone has become surprised. Everyone has become surprised to see South African jets, helicopters, and soldiers. Okay, it was not only a display of pinpoint precision. Precision means accuracy and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy. So, in simple words, we can say that everyone has seen South African jets, helicopters, soldiers, and military force. After that, everyone has become surprised. Everyone was surprised to see to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. So this is the demonstration of the present government, the government which had been elected freely and fairly. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and Police, their chests bedecked. Bedecked means decorated with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty, promised their loyalty. I was not unmindful. Unmindful means not conscious or aware of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. You see the difference. Nelson Mandela is focusing on the differences. When he had not become the president of South Africa, what troops, what soldiers had done with him. They arrested him, but today they were saluting him. That is the difference. Finally, a A sovereign here means a pattern in the shape of V of Impala jets left. A smoke trail here means chain, series of the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. So here, especially in this paragraph, we have seen that what was the opinion of Nelson Mandela and what had been shown before the dignitaries who gathered in amphitheater to celebrate this day. They had seen South African jets, helicopters, troops, soldiers, military forces of South Africa. Everyone was amazed, everyone was surprised to see. Further, Nelson Mandela said that when he was not the president of South Africa, at that time these soldiers arrested him, but now today they were saluting him. So that was the difference which we have seen. तो इस पूरे पैराग्राफ में देखते हैं कि नेल्सन मंडेला इस बात पे फोकस करते हैं कि सभी लोग जो एम्पी थिएटर में आए हुए हैं, साउथ अफ्रीकन जेट्स, हेलीकॉप्टर्स, ट्रूप, मिलिट्री फोर्स को देख करके आश्चर्यचकित होते हैं। और जो मिलिट्री फोर्स है वो प्रॉमिस करती है, लॉयल्टी रखती है, जो लॉयल्टी रखेगी अपने गवर्नमेंट के प्रति, इस गवर्नमेंट के प्रति। और साथ ही नेल्सन मंडेला इस बात पे फोकस करते हैं कि जब वो कुछ भी नहीं थे, एक कॉमन पीपल थे, तो उस समय सोल्जर्स उन्हें अरेस्ट किया करते थे। लेकिन आज क्या है, जब वो प्रेसिडेंट हैं साउथ अफ्रीका के, वे उन्हें सैल्यूट कर रहे हैं। और लास्टली वो बताते हैं कि साउथ अफ्रीकन फ्लैग जब फहराया जाता है तो सारे लोग क्या है, प्राउड फील करते हैं। सो दैट इज़ द थिंग विच has been discussed in this paragraph. Now we move towards next. The day was symbolized. Symbolized means be a symbol of. For me, the day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems. So on that day, two national anthems were played, and the vision of whites singing Nkosi Sikelel Africa and black singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of anthem that they once despised means hated, they would soon know the words by heart. Meaning is this, in this paragraph we have seen that two national anthems were played on that particular day. First one, it is of white singing Nkosi Sikelel Africa and black singing Die Stem, the old anthem of Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem. People who were gathering there, especially African people, black people, okay, they were not aware of national anthem. They once despised. There was a time once they despised, they hated. They would soon know the words by heart. Meaning is this, after this change what happened, two national anthems were played. One is for white people and one is for black people. Generally for decades what happened, only white national anthem for white people was played, and that was known to each and everyone. But when this black singing Die Stem was played, that is for the black people. Okay, this is the old anthem of the Republic that is not known to everyone. And second thing, everyone hated. They considered this as a law. But now they will very soon learn it by heart. They will very soon learn it by heart. Okay, so here in this part we have seen that two national anthems were played. Okay, white singing and black singing, and old anthem of Republic, that is the Die Stem, that is the old anthem of the Republic. That day neither group knew the lyrics of anthem. कोई भी इस लिरिक को नहीं जानते थे। एक समय था जब लोग इसे जो है पसंद नहीं किया करते थे, उसे लो ओपिनियन से देखा करते थे, लेकिन बहुत ही जल्दी वो क्या करेंगे, इसको याद कर लेंगे। ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे हमने देखा कि दो नेशनल एंथम की इन्होंने बात की है, जिसमें वाइट सिंगिंग की है और दूसरा क्या है, ब्लैक सिंगिंग की है। ब्लैक सिंगिंग जो राइट स्टेम है वो ओल्ड एंथम है रिपब्लिक का, और इसको लोग जो है इन्फीरियर मानते थे। अब कंडीशन ये है, जो उसे इन्फीरियर मानते थे आज उसे क्या है, याद करेंगे, याद कर लेंगे एंथम को। दैट इज द सिंपल ओपिनियन एंड नथिंग एल्स। नाउ नेक्स्ट यू सी, ऑन द डे ऑफ द इनॉग्रेशन I was overwhelmed, have a strong emotional effect, means I was emotionally happy. I have become emotional with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. Simple meaning is this: on this day of inauguration, Nelson Mandela was emotionally happy, you can say, or he became emotional when he remembered his past time, when the differences were created. It is given that white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial discrimination. White people of South Africa had created, had built racial discrimination. Simple meaning is this: on this day of inauguration, Nelson Mandela remembered his past time when the racial discrimination was created by white-skinned people of South Africa. And he also remembered the bitter Anglo-Boer War before his birth, and the white-skinned people erected the racial discrimination in South Africa. In simple words, we can say, on this day of inauguration, Nelson Mandela remembered two things. First, Anglo-Boer War that happened before his birth, and second, the creation of or erection of or construction of differences on the basis of races, or creation of racial discrimination. These are the two things which he remembered: Anglo-Boer War and creation of racial discrimination. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane, cruel, brutal. Inhumane means brutal, inhumane means brutal, cruel. Means racial discrimination is a cruel act, and this racial discrimination has been created by white-skinned peoples of South Africa, and that was the worst thing. That was the worst thing in South Africa, because white people is going to govern the black-skinned people. So it was the harshest creation societies the world has ever known. Okay, meaning is this: on this particular day, Nelson Mandela remembered his past time, especially he remembered Anglo-Boer War and creation of racial discrimination, and he believes that racial discrimination was the worst thing that existed in South Africa. They had tested the bitter experience of racial discrimination. It was inhumane also. Racial discrimination was inhumane. Racial discrimination was cruel act. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century and my own eighth decade as a man, that system had been overturned. Overturned means reverse. Meaning is this: racial discrimination had come to its end forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and the freedoms of all peoples. Freedom of all peoples, regardless of the color of their skin. So, in this paragraph, we see on the day of inauguration, Nelson Mandela remembered two things. First, Anglo-Boer War, which took place before his birth, and secondly, he remembered racial discrimination, which was created by white-skinned people of South Africa. According to him, racial discrimination is the harshest, is the worst thing that existed in South Africa. Racial discrimination was practiced in South African soil and it was cruel act. It was the cruel or it was the brutal experience. Okay, it was a brutal experience. Racial discrimination is brutal act. In it, what happened? White people governed black-skinned people. He said that now time had come. The last decade of 20th century, what happened? In the last decade of 20th century, what happened? Racial discrimination had met its end forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples, regardless of color of their skin. इस पार्ट में ये बात कही गई है कि नेल्सन मंडेला डे ऑफ इनाग्रेशन पर दो चीज़ों को याद करते हैं: एंग्लो बोअर वार, जो कि उनके जन्म के पहले था, और रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, जो उनके बर्थ के बाद आया, और रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन जो कि वाइट पीपल ऑफ साउथ अफ्रीका के द्वारा बनाया गया था। नेल्सन मंडेला का मानना है कि रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन एकदम क्रूअल एक्ट है, क्रूअल प्रैक्टिस है, साउथ अफ्रीका में थी, जिसका उन लोगों ने बीटर एक्सपीरियंस रखा हुआ है। इनका मानना है कि इन द लास्ट 20th सेंचुरी क्या हुआ कि रिवर्स हुआ, रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ख़त्म हुई और आज लोगों को अपनी फ्रीडम मिली। नहीं तो रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के कारण लोग अपने राइट से डिप्राइव थे, वंचित थे। अब क्या है, उन्हें पूरी फ्रीडम थी, हर प्रकार के व्यक्ति को, हर कलर के व्यक्ति को क्या है, फ्रीडम मिली हुई है। पहले ऐसा नहीं था जब रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हुआ करता था। So in all we can say, especially in this paragraph, Nelson Mandela remembered two things: Anglo-Boer War and practice of racial discrimination in South Africa. And he also remembered the impact of racial discrimination on the people of South Africa, especially black people of South Africa. Now, that day had come about through the unimaginable. Unimaginable means difficult or impossible to imagine. Sacrifices of thousands of my people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. Again, Nelson Mandela was also remembering about the freedom fighters, about the people who sacrificed their lives for getting away from racial discrimination, who sacrificed their lives for the sake of the country. They had only one desire: to abolish racial discrimination in South Africa. And he remembered the courage, the sufferings, and the sacrifices of the people of South Africa when they were under the impact of racial discrimination. This was the third thing which Nelson Mandela was remembering on this day of inauguration. He was remembering the courage, the sufferings of the people. He remembered the sacrifices of the people who sacrificed their life for the sake of their country in order to get freedom from or liberation from the practice of racial discrimination. He also said that the suffering and the courage of people can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. And he also remembered those patriots who sacrificed their life in order to get rid of racial discrimination. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. That long and noble line ended means several people had sacrificed their life in order to get rid of the practice of racial discrimination in South Africa. Now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them. Meaning is this, Nelson Mandela was not happy because he was not able to thank them. Because of them, what happened? Because of patriots, what happened? They got freedom. And that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Meaning is this, they were not able to see what is the impact of their sacrifices. So here again, in this paragraph, Nelson Mandela was remembering the courage, sufferings, and sacrifices of the people who fought for the freedom, who fought in order to get rid of the practice of racial discrimination in South Africa. Further, Nelson Mandela says that Nelson Mandela remembers that he was not able to thank them. That's why he was not happy. He was pained that he was not able to thank those people who sacrificed their life in order to get rid of the practice of racial discrimination in South Africa. And he also said that they were not alive to see the impact of their sacrifices. And due to their sacrifices, what happened? Now they have got the freedom. Means we have got the freedom. इस पूरे पैराग्राफ हम देखते हैं कि नेल्सन मंडेला अगेन याद करते हैं उन लोगों के सेक्रीफाइस को, करेज को, सफरिंग्स को, जिन्होंने इस रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के अगेंस्ट आवाज़ उठाई, उसके अगेंस्ट गए, उसको समाप्त करने के लिए अपनी लाइफ को सेक्रीफाइस किया। साउथ अफ्रीकन पैट्रियट्स को वो याद करते हैं। साथ ही वो थोड़े से दुखी हैं क्योंकि वो उन पैट्रियट्स को थैंक नहीं कह पा रहे हैं जिनकी वजह से आज ये फ्रीडम उनको मिली है, या साउथ अफ्रीकन पीपल को ये फ्रीडम मिली है कि अब साउथ अफ्रीका में रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की प्रैक्टिस नहीं होगी। और साथ ही पैट्रियट्स, साउथ अफ्रीकन पैट्रियट्स नहीं हैं वो जो देख पाएँ कि उनके सेक्रीफाइसेस ने क्या किया, उनके सेक्रीफाइसेस के द्वारा ही जो है उन्हें फ्रीडम प्राप्त हुई। So that is the part which we have seen here. Now see, the policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years under the policy of apartheid, if not generations, recovering from that profound means deep, intense hurt. The simple meaning is this: Nelson Mandela also remembered the days when they were under the impact of policy of apartheid, and what sort of hurt had been given to them because of this policy of apartheid cannot be forgotten. And it will take time to recover from that, because this policy of apartheid had given them intense, deep hurt. But the decades